Hello and welcome to your MESE lesson. I'm Claire. Today you're going to learn the what and the how of asking questions with did plus verb plus would. Let's start with what. What are these questions used for? They're used to ask more complicated and specific questions about the future in the past using a dependent clause. For example, did you know that I would go to work today? Asking about the future in the past expresses the idea that in the past you thought something would happen in the future. For example, did you guess who would get married so soon? Using the future in the past follows the same basic rules as the simple future tense. Would is used to ask about something that was predicted, volunteered, or promised. We use dependent clauses to give additional information about something without starting another sentence. By combining sentences with a dependent clause, your speaking becomes more fluent and you can avoid repeating certain words. For example, without a dependent clause, I went to work today. Did you know? Using a dependent clause, for example, did you know that I would go to work today? In this sentence, the dependent clause is that I would go to work today. Dependent clauses usually begin with these words, who, when, and that. However, they are not always a requirement. In the next question, that is optional. For example, did you know that I would go to work today? And now, omitting that. Did you know I would go to work today? You can only omit that, who, and when, etc. when they are not the subject of the dependent clause. For example, did you guess who would get married so soon? This is correct. But if we omit who, did you guess would get married so soon? This question is incorrect. You cannot omit who because it is the subject of the dependent clause. Good. Now let's learn how. How do you use these questions? First, know how to conjugate did plus verb plus would. Let's use the example know. Please repeat after me. Did I know that you'd? Did you know that I'd? Did Mike know that she'd? Good. Let's add be so tired today. Please repeat. Did Alice know that he'd be so tired today? Please repeat. Did we know that they'd be so tired today? Please repeat. Did they know that we'd be so tired today? It's very important to memorize this conjugation fluently before you start practicing video B. Next, really study your vocabulary. For example, did you mention that his schedule would be different next week? Assure them that they definitely have good seats. Know who'd be popping over for a chat today? In order to be a proficient English speaker, you need to understand how to build a sentence and use advanced vocabulary and expressions. Excellent! Now, let's review. First, what are did plus verb plus would questions used for? They are used to ask more complicated and specific questions about the future in the past, using a dependent clause. Second, how do you use these questions? You use them by knowing the conjugation of did plus verb plus would and building a more specific question with the vocabulary. Well done! Let's move on to video B to really practice making your own questions. Remember to keep on reviewing your vocabulary. I'm Claire and I'll see you soon.